New Year, I was able to visit my mother and my family in King, North Carolina. While driving through the streets of this little town, I noticed several yard signs, and as I'm driving by these yards, they're catching my eye. There are Christian flags, there are different sizes, different shapes, but it seems like I'm picking out something, and I'm not quite sure I really believe what I'm seeing until I stop to make sure that I get a close-up and actually take a picture of these signs. And I want to hear the story behind these amazing yard signs. And yes, sure enough, as I stop, pull the van over, take out my camera and get a close-up, the signs said exactly what I thought it said. "We, the people, say fight," emblazoned on a Christian flag. Well, now I'm intrigued. I've got to hear this story. Well, the story is stranger than fiction. In this small town of King, in the city park, there has been a controversy brewing now for many months. It's a little war memorial, veterans memorial. You heard that right, a war memorial, a veterans memorial, where for many years, and I don't know why, amongst the collection of flags that have flown, which include the service flags and the U.S. flag, there has flown a Christian flag over this memorial. Someone, a veteran, requested that it be removed, and his argument makes a little sense to me. He did not fight for the Christian flag, he fought for a nation, and he did not consider himself a Christian. Now, I'm as against the ACLU and all these crazy lefties as the next guy many times, but folks, why are we flying a Christian flag over a war memorial? Anyway, the cause was taken up by two local independent fundamental Baptist churches who rose to the conflict and printed yard signs and t-shirts. Rallies were had, protests were staged. Well, the city would not let them have the Christian flag back over the war memorial, and so to solve that, our dear Christian friends planted their own Christian flag on the grounds. Now, if they were not present with the Christian flag at all times, it was going to be removed. And so our dear Christian friends, over many months, camped out in this camper protesting the fact that the city had taken down the Christian flag from the war memorial and faithfully stayed in this camper 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in shifts to make sure that the makeshift Christian flag that they had placed was not removed by the city. Now, in the end, the Christians won, hallelujah, and all of heaven rejoices. The Christian flag has been placed again through an elaborate lottery system that the city came up with to pacify the Christians. And I can only imagine how many open doors there are now to the sharing of the gospel by those who have planted the Christian flag in their yards saying, "Let's fight." And so, folks, this is absolutely stranger than fiction. This is where American patriotism, this is where our brand of hyper crazy fanatical nonsense really gets us in trouble. I wanted to go down and see it for myself to take some pictures. I did that. As I show up, there is someone interviewing one of the gentlemen that had been camping out in this camper, and I took some pictures, and the lady asked if she could interview me. The interview was clipped, and a tiny piece appeared actually on the evening news, and I'll put a link to that you can look to for yourself. But here, following, is the interview in its entirety. I tried to not impugn the motives of these people, but I tried to say some things from my heart, so here is my take on the King controversy.
Say and spell your first and your last name for me.
Tony, T-O-N-Y. Cuellar, C-U-E-L-L-A-R.
And tell me your relationship. Why are you in King? Talk to me a little bit about that.
My family has lived in King for 11 years now, and we just came through to visit.
How did you hear about this, and what were you thinking when this small town of King, you heard that it's been the talk of this controversy across the country? It's made national news.
I was fascinated by it. What was interesting as we were driving through town with our family, seeing all the signs, and what was intriguing to me, because I'd heard something, but I hadn't grasped it all, but then when I saw the Christian flag with the words, "We the people say fight," something seemed ironic with that. So I wanted to hear more about it. And so I heard the story and I wanted to come down and see it.
What do you think about all this?
I think I actually pastor a church in Vineland, New Jersey. I've been there for 11 years as a pastor. I think it's well-intentioned people who love the Lord and love the right things just taking it a bridge too far. That's my personal opinion. I think that the witness that we should be giving to the community is that Christ is amazing, loving the Lord is awesome, and fighting over symbols, trying to force things on people is not helpful. It's not what Christianity should be about.
How do you think maybe you could handle it a little better?
Petitions, kindly asking and accepting the fact that forcing our preferences on others doesn't bring them any closer to loving Christ, loving the Bible, loving what we care about. In fact, it probably closes those doors. So I'm just not sure that the whole bickering thing and all that is productive or helpful to living with Christ.
Why did you guys feel like you had to come out here today?
I wanted to document it. I actually have a blog, and I wanted to put some pictures up, and I just think it's a mistake.
How do you feel about how the city handled it? Because we talked about how people have handled it. The city decided to have the lottery, allow people that live within the city limits to come in and put a piece of paper in of what they would like to have in that spot for that week. All of them but one is going to be the Christian flag, 1 week no flag. Thoughts about how they handled that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the city's in a hard place. What do you do? I don't live here, so I'm not gonna comment on what the city said or did.
Anything else you want to say, Rad?
Just that you have to love Christ. You have to want to love Christ. You can't be made to respect Him. If you don't, I'd rather you not than have to pretend that you do. I'd rather you come to know and love Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior.
Perfect. Such an interesting take. Thank you so much.